What's up, everybody? Brett here, and we're back today watching some more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. Going to be a 2v2. Subscriber submitted by Uzumaki Norio. He's going to be playing as the Tomb Kings with his ally, the Vampire Coast, up against another Tomb King army and Norska. So, pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and slow-mo it for a bit to go over the armies. I will say I watched this replay already, and the man to watch, guys, is Grand Hierophant Khatep. Don't sleep on this dude. On top of his special mount, he's an artillery piece. 440 range. They buffed them in the last patch, and I don't know, man. It's like the firing focus, the damage of these things, these Casket of Soul type units, is really high. And for his spells here, he's got Sandstorm. Does he also have? Yes. Sakmet's Incantation of the Skull Storm. So he basically has two of them. Of those, like, skull tornado effects. Very devastating. Lich Staff, My Will Be Done, Restless Dead. Okay, he's got a lot of that stuff. He's going to be healing whenever he casts any of his spells, which is very relevant. His front line is really cheap. He's got a mix of Tomb Guard with Skeleton Warriors, but in the center here, he's got one Tomb Guard, and he also has the Kepra Guard. So the Regiment of Renown Tomb Guard for the Tomb Kings, they have regeneration and magic damage. They're a pretty beastly unit, especially against other Tomb Kings. They're great in that matchup. We've got some Spearmen in the back, Skeleton Archers, as well as the Blessed Legion. So the Blessed Legion giving you that armor sundering, allowing you to focus down heavily certain targets. Ushabti, standard Ushabti. Honestly, one of my favorite units on the lineup. I think they're very underrated. For 900 gold, they give you a lot of mobility, a lot of armor piercing, and anti-infantry. We've got the Chosen of the Gods, Regiment of Renown, as well as another unit of Ushabti Greatbows. So lots of range from this side of the battlefield. And they're going to be drawing these units in ever closer. You see there Queen Bess already trying to make a mark on that side. But opposite them is just going to be Tomb Guard, Skeleton Spearmen, just kind of a mismatched front line. Anything really impressive? Not really. Skeleton Archers in the back, very tightly packed. That's dangerous. That's very dangerous versus this this kind of combination here. There's also a Prince for a little bit of protection. They have Guardian, and they can do some anti-large damage. And that's going to be good versus a Tomb King on a Khmrian War Sphinx. Pretty curious who would win. A Tomb King on a Sphinx versus a Tomb Prince on a horse. The Tomb Prince has anti-large, but the Tomb King is just, you know, probably a much higher quality unit. They also have Ushabti Greatbows and the Chosen of the Gods. So a little bit of a repeat here. And their caster is going to be a Lich Priest with the Lore of Death. Let's see if they are able to make any good use of that Lich Priest. I see Fate of Buna. I see Purple Sun, Spirit Leech. I think that's Fate of Buna. But that's Vortex spells generally very good in a 2v2. You're always going to have a target. Shade Wraith Gunners opening up for the Vampire Coast. They also have a Necrofex Colossus. Let's zoom over to him as he takes his shot. Probably going to be shooting into these Berserkers. Maybe. Oh no, it looks like everyone's basically unloading into the Icehorn Marauders. So they have perfect vigor. I don't know if I'd want them to be my front and center line. They're a great unit, but they're more expensive than standard Marauders. You really want your standard Marauders to take those types of shots and let your Marauder champions, your bigger, heavier guys, get in behind them without taking, you know, just a ton of damage. We've got some Javelins. That's a great choice versus the Vampire Coast for sure. Also good if you think you're going to be fighting Constructs. They have anti-large. Decent range, better than the throwing axes anyway, and there's 3 of those on the battlefield. We have a Shaman Sorcerer with the Lore of Fire, great choice, because you already know that you're going to be fighting units that are weak against fire from both sides of your enemy's battlefield. And he's got the Burning Skull, he's got Fireball, and Cascading Fire Cloak. Let's see which one he chooses to make use of. My bet, as like I said, I've seen it already, is going to be on the Flaming Skull. So he's going to be looking to get lots and lots of roasted undead. And we've got Wolfric here. And he has Seafang, great choice against the Skeletons. A lot of times the firing lines for the Vampire Coast and the Archers want to stand still. And you can drop a Seafang along their line and do a ton of damage. He's got Fight or Die, Hunter of Champions. If he gets a chance, he'll probably pick off some units. And then Norscan Wolfhounds right next to the Norscan Ice Wolves, or Warhounds rather. And they're going to be looking to get up and around, perhaps to get onto Queen Bess. Or some of these deck gunners who are in the front line currently, a bit exposed, but there's a ton of them. There's 4 units in total. And yeah, they've got some good targets. The Mist Stalkers would be excellent targets for them. They have good armor, but are they invisible at this range? I don't know. Is that a thing? Did I make that up? They have, okay, they're being shot. They have missile resistance from being from the mist. I could have sworn, yeah, they also have stalk. So they can move hidden in certain terrains, but they're visible now, or at the very least they're being tagged as they are standing kind of too close to the other units. There's one Manticore, which will probably do a lot of work this battle, and tons of Berserkers also. Good choice. Very good choices. And these Carrion here are going to be moving in to obstruct these archers who feel the need to move back. Check out Grand Hierophant Khatep's kills. Already up to 53 kills just shooting at random skeletons. But the thing that Uzumaki Norio is doing very correctly here is that he's using his Ushabti to focus down his opponent's Ushabti. His opponent actually has the advantage. He's got 3 versus 2. He could be using his right now to counter and destroy these Chosen, for instance, and prevent them from firing, and he would win that trade. But because he's shooting at other things, perhaps the Carrion, perhaps the Kepra Guard, he's missing out on that value, and he himself is going to quickly find that he's going to lose one of his units. So kind of last but not least, we've got a standard Vampire Fleet Admiral with the pistol. Super cheap. I mean, you're going to get your Invocations of Nehek. You're going to get your Drowned Dead. Without a doubt, the best 2 abilities that they can bring. And you're going to get All Hands Ahoy, which is a nice little buff for your units. Cheap front line, but I could have sworn, yeah, he's also got some Depth Guard, which are going to be good at fighting Norscan infantry. Pretty much all Norscan infantry. They'll trade effectively against them. And there's only 1 unit, I believe, of those Depth Guard. So let's see how he uses them. And these Night Terrors here, going to be getting a bit of an ambush onto these Marauders, who they'll do great against, but at the same time, unsupported, they'll probably just start to die. So let's see how much of the battlefield we can watch at once, because there's so much going on. The Wolfhounds, the Hounds, are going up and around, trying to screen them out with the deckhand mobs. The front lines are looking to engage here. The Tombking is starting to take focus fire. Meanwhile, Grand Hierophant Khatep already up to 91 kills. Going to be casting his Skull Storms to get those big values on these skeletons. Might want to wait until they're engaged. And one of the Ushabti already crumbles off. Standard Ushabti running forward to meet the charge. Oh god, just a nasty shot right down the line. And they're already being healed by their Realm of Soul procs, because that's how much damage they've taken so far. And their Lich Priest is running into melee. I don't know if I agree with that. Meanwhile, their Tombking is attempting to stop these Carrion from shutting down their archers, but to little to no avail. The gunnery mobs taking up positions. The Night Terrors, unfortunately, in a terrible fight versus champions and Miststalkers, who will just beat them to death. Miststalkers are a powerful unit. But the Death Guard, mixed in amongst the Marauder champions, we can go ahead and K-mode this for a second and watch these guys use their superhuman speed animations to tear into them. So they have the hunger. They'll be able to regen as long as they're in a fight. You put them in a fair fight like this, and they'll come out so far ahead. That's what really makes them strong. And a Burning Skull here going off, going to be roasting this entire group of Zombie Pirate Deckhand mobs. This one Mana Core looking to shut down Queen Bess. If they're in guard mode, they can probably still fire. They certainly can. Let's see if they hit. Oh, that was a pretty nasty square hit. And it's going to apply that slowing effect to their units as well. So you see here, all of a sudden, they can barely move. Necrofex Colossus, shooting unabated, 96 kills. Wulfric, though, has found his challenge. And he is chasing away this Vampire Fleet Admiral, who does not want any of this. And the Zombie Pirate Deckhand mobs with polearms move in. And I noticed earlier he used his buff on the Zombie Pirate Deckhand mobs to give them armor piercing, which is why you see that they were able to do some damage for Wulfric, who had the Cascading Fire Cloak on him to give him some melee defense, thanks to the Shaman Sorcerer with the Lore of Fire. And that's going to allow him to stand and fight surrounded by all this infantry. Good use here of the Norscan Ice Wolves. Got to shut down these Deck Gunners. They're just getting so much value. Morgul's already dead. Ushabti summoned from the opposing Tombking player is going to be getting into the back of the Blessed Legion. Can't say I blame them. They're going to blend these units up. Probably won't be much left of them by the time they start to disintegrate. But this entire flank is still healthy. These Tomb Guard here need to get engaged, and they're not. All of these units can still fire. These Tomb Guard here are probably just happy to sit here. They don't want to overchase. See if they get a charge in the back. They sure do. Ah, a little bit of miss micro. You hate to see that. And the Tomb Prince is chasing down the Tomb King, kind of what we called earlier. But he's being supported by Ushabti Great Bows, who are focusing down the Tomb King. He's probably not long for this world. Grand Hierophant Khatep and great health, 261 kills. What are they casting? Reanimate, just to give some leadership, but it's too little, too late. The Tomb Prince is on the hunt. He's doing his damage. He's going to go and try and see if he can't snipe Khatep right at the end here, but it's not going to be enough. And this side of the battlefield is looking pretty well won. Another Flaming Skull here. I think that one kind of whiffed. It went in a weird direction. It caught a little bit of these deck gunners, but then it went in a weird direction. Had it curved a little bit more, it would have absolutely destroyed both of those units. And the Necrofex Colossus, up to 134 kills, is being kited by the Marauder Hunters with Javelins. This is an excellent fight for the Norscan player, and you'll see that the Necrofex Colossus' health is just melting. And as it melts, it drops the deck hands, who you can send forward to kind of screen for him, but they're going to go down quickly. I think what I would be doing at this point, recognizing that I'm being overwhelmed by the Norscan player, is to take whatever scraps, especially the mobile ones that I can, and retreat to my allies' side of the battlefield. Yeah, the Depth Guard are being kited into oblivion. They're going to be hit in the back by these Miststalkers. And they might get some good kills on these Javelins before the Miststalkers show up, and they do. You know, 7, 8, 9 kills, whatever. But now they're being attacked in the back, and they're crumbling, and they're going to disappear in just a second. Now, this Realm of Soul summons for Uzumaki is going to be going off into his opponent's Ushabti Great Bows, which to this point have remained on the battlefield and have been elusive. But now, with two Ushabti tied down, and he sent in his standard Ushabti that he actually paid for, that's going to be enough to fight them and to bring them down with a little bit of Archer Overwatch fire as well. And that's pretty much it. Some skeleton on skeleton action here. But at this point, if you're Uzumaki, you need to be thinking about preserving your opponent or your allies' forces and turning to face them. Man, Grand Hierophant Khatep, what's he up to now? 311 kills. And they're blobbing up. Kind of a big mistake from the Norscan player here. Blobbing up on this one unit of zombie pirate deckhand mobs. And you already know that Hierophant Khatep is just on this hill with some ammunition left. He's still got 4 shots. And you're blobbing up your infantry in just the worst possible place. Still some bow shots coming in. That was the last of the ammo from the Ushabti. Okay. But there's still archers on the field. Some of these skeletons have never even moved since the battle started. The Kepra Guard, up to 84 kills, are regenerating. They're just sitting still. You can watch their health go up by 2. About 2 a second. 2 or 4 a second. Something like that. Hard to tell sometimes what a game considers a second. But that's it. That's pretty much all that's left for the Vampire Coast. Hunter of Champions is going to be slowing down this Admiral who's trying to escape. And these skeletons, just standard skeletons. They're not spears or anything, so they have no bonus versus this anti-large. But they're going to come in here and try and aid them. But excellent cast from the Shaman Sorcerer Shaman Sorcerer Hero of Fire. And that's going to get several more kills on the Skeleton Warriors, perhaps force them into crumbling. Which a lot of times just does more damage than the other thing. All Hands Ahoy being popped. That's good teamwork right there. So to prevent them from crumbling, give them that leadership and stop it. 100% to put a stop to that bleeding, so to speak. So he was casting something there, not sure what. Cascading Fire Cloak to give armor-piercing damage and melee defense. So that Tomb Prince went in for a snipe on Wolfric, but unfortunately, with a little bit of buffs, and, the Curse of Jadaf going off, lowering his melee attack, but with some support from the Pharaoh Manticore and that Sorcerer, it's not going to be long for this world either, and he's going to go down. It's kind of a shame. You could have really used him to stay back here and protect. Grand Hierophant Khatep nearly out of ammo, but moving forward is certainly not the right play. I mean, these 3 Javelins could walk right here and just shoot him to death. It would take like 3 volleys and he would be dead. And I don't think there's anything anyone could do about it. Not when he has so many of his units so far back in reserve. And the Manticore is starting to be shot down. I mean, you need to bring your units up. I think that was maybe 3 Burning Skulls and 2 Cascading Fire Cloaks that I saw. There probably isn't much more Winds of Magic on this Shaman. So you don't really have to fear that. Grand Hierophant Khatep, he has some physical resistance. Whenever he's on his casket, it's 44%. No, there's no way. He must have cast Narrows incantation of protection. Okay, so that gave him some physical resistance. That makes more sense. But he does still have 80 armor, which is kind of surprising. He's going to be a little bit tanky, surrounded by these Chosen of the Gods protecting him. I don't know, maybe using him as a damage sponge is an okay idea. But he very easily could have been sniped out by these javelins. But good play now to move forward. Use the Ushabti speed to chase them down. They can't get away from you. Kepregard tying them down, going to be getting a lot more kills, I'm sure. And yeah, bring forward all the cheap units. No reason to keep 86 Tomb Guard this far back. No doubt they're just kind of forgotten for the moment in the heat to push everything here and to route it all off the battlefield, because Wulfric is nearly done. These Skeleton Warriors kind of tying down the Shaman Sorcerer. He can probably beat them one-on-one, honestly. The Miststalkers fighting to the bitter end versus some of these Ushabti would probably win if they could stand and fight, but without any supporting elements, I think they're pretty much the last bastion on the battlefield. Manticore's coming back. Wulfric returns. But there's still ammo on the Blessed Legion, for goodness sakes. Khatep up to 323 kills. And that's going to be it. We can kind of fast forward, I'm sure. And another Burning Skull, though, just to prove me wrong. The Shaman Sorcerer gets off his 4th Burning Skull. That was only 10 kills, though. Rough. I mean, a lot of what's here is just Ushabti, which don't take almost any damage from that at all. No doubt he was trying to get the Kepregard, but good play from Uzumakyo to move his units at the last second. And now the Sorcerer is fighting Khatep, but Khatep has the benefit of some Skeleton Spearmen nearby, and he just pushes him over and rolls over him. That's hilarious. Just bones. Ugh, I wouldn't want to live after that. Magical bone pile just kind of like rolls over you. And the Marauder Champions, even at this low point in their health, they can probably beat the Kepregard. I don't know. That's a close one. Regen counts for a lot, but they're just so lightly armored. This is kind of a nail-biter. Wulfric coming back in. How much HP does he have? Well, not enough. Not enough to sustain in that charge with the Chosen, I guess. And that's going to be enough to break them. The Miststalkers were nearby. Just a few more seconds and the Ushabti would have gone. Man, I don't think that would have ended any different, though. Especially with the Vampire Coast Admiral still on the field, still shooting. 330 kills, the final murder tally for Khatep. Great play. Thanks for sending me this replay, man. It was a good one. You did everything you had to do. You counter sniped your opponent's Ushabti. You gave yourself that range advantage. When he came in with the Tomb King, you hyper-focused him. When he tried to set up his archers at the beginning of the game, which literally did nothing, you used your Carrion to pin him down and chase him. His Lich Priest, I don't know, didn't cast a single spell. He got thrown into the front lines and cut down. So you did everything you needed to do, and I like the build a lot. Kind of the same thing with the Vampire Coast player. I mean, he used his chaff units to block as well as he could. Got his depth guard on the right targets. It's hard to make 4 deck gunners work. I mean, honestly, cut down to 2, man. Cut down to 2, take even more chaff units, or maybe even another, depth guard, and have more to protect your back line, because you have some pretty big investments here. Necrofex Colossus, Queen Bess, Shade Wraith Gunners, and another deck gunner. I mean, that's 4 targets that can't really defend themselves, so you got to kind of consider that. And it's another thing if you're deploying with your ally, like putting Queen Bess behind your Tomb King player's front line. But that's not really what happened. Y'all deployed in 2 separate armies, and because of that, the Norscan player was really able to get up and around with these wolves and to do some damage in the back line. But good play to everybody. Wulfric the Wanderer plus the Shaman, a pretty nasty 1-2 punch versus either one of these armies. Those very linear spells, the kind of like wind spells that they're both able to cast, can be devastating versus those 2 groups. And really good use of a Feral Manticore. Most of the times you see people abuse the Lore of Beasts to summon them. But I also like to take just take 1 Feral Manticore that won't route and use it to shut down high-value targets. Would have been good on the Necrofex. Would have been good on the Deck Gunners. Would have been good probably on anything in this army except for Halberds, of course. And Marauders. Cheap shielded infantry. Yeah, it's really all you need. Honestly, cut the champions, man. Cut these champions, get like 4 more Marauders. And maybe even something else. Maybe another Norscan Warhound. Like, you could go pretty deep against them. You're going to beat their chaff units. You just need to be able to go up and around to shut down their tools. That's kind of the only thing. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this cast. Once again, my name is Brett. My channel is Goodtalk Gaming. I have a Discord channel. If you would like to join it, you're welcome to. All people who love video games are welcome. And if you want to send me replays, there's a channel in there that you can go into, Total War Replays, and you can submit it. So, of course, the link to the Discord will be in the description down below. And, yeah, guys, as always, I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys.